Howdy folks, welcome back to another Out of Spec Renew video. Today you join me looking at a 100 kilowatt hour Model S pack. I'm going to show you guys sort of a little bit of a different failure mode that these packs can suffer from than what the earlier packs have. So like I mentioned right there in the intro, this is a 100 kilowatt hour Model S pack. So this is, kind of not quite the latest and greatest, but it's pretty new as far as legacy Model S packs go. This is actually out of a 2018 Model S P100D. Normally this would have been a pack that would be under warranty, but this is actually from a salvage title rebuilt car. Actually, it's got a rebuilt title and all. It was actually recertified by Tesla. They did their high voltage inspection on it, and the car can supercharge and everything again. But unfortunately, it's now suffered from a failure mode that, of course, is not covered under warranty anymore. So this is a little bit of a different failure mode than the previous pack repair that I did on that Model S P85D. We'll try and link the video to that here above. I'm not going too in-depth on this actual repair job because for the most part it's the same exact process. So if you want to see the process of dropping the pack out of the car, opening it up, pulling the modules, you can go check out that other video. But I just wanted to make this video to kind of show the different failure modes that we can see on these packs compared to the older ones. As you can see, I've actually got a module pulled out right here. This is the module that suffered from the sort of acute failure. We're still going to pull out all of the other modules, just like I do on any of my pack repairs for these. But this one was the main affected one, so I'll show you guys that here real quick. All right, so right here I've got the module that we pulled out of the pack over here, and then over here I've got just an example pack out of an 85 kilowatt hour. So this is just old school 5.3 kilowatt hour module, and then this is the newer module out of the 100 kilowatt hour pack. You can actually see just by looking how much more densely packed this one is with cells. These two modules are the same physical size, but this one has got a lot more cells in it. There's also a couple of other nice advantages that the older pack has, or that the newer pack has over the older one, and that's to do with the cooling package. So you can see on the old style modules, there's just a single cooling loop that runs all the way through the module, where on the newer style, we've got two separate cooling loops. So we've got two inlets, just snakes through like that. And then, yeah, so basically much more evenly distributed cooling for the modules. Big benefit. That's one of the main reasons that they can supercharge and sustain speeds for a lot longer, is they just have a better cooling package. Still not as solid as the much newer stuff, but pretty good nonetheless. So what we've got going on here is a real similar failure mode to the last pack repair video that we did, and that is, our problem was a voltage sense lead that came undone. So let me zoom in here real quick and I'll show you guys what's going on there. So on this module here, you can see this right here is the repair that I've done on this module, so we can kind of ignore that for now. But our actual failure mode is with these wire bonds. So I've already removed the two that were on this side that went to this copper pad, but these two wire bonds, if we touch those with the pick, you can see they're no longer attached to this little copper pad here. They're just floating around loose. And this is kind of a known failure mode for the 100 kilowatt hour packs like this, more so on the older ones than the newer ones. Like I would say anything before late 2019. You can call it 2020 if you want, but basically late 2019. So really only the last packs, they really truly kind of addressed this issue. But it's not super duper common. I'd say it's a common enough issue that it's a known problem, but it's not like this happens to every single car. I mean, some cars go for a ton of miles before having this failure. It does seem like cars that have been in heavy accidents are likely more prone to this failure mode. But this car, despite it being a salvage title car, was not in a heavy accident. It just had some quarter panel damage, fairly lightly on one side. But yeah, so that's essentially what we've got going on here. And the fix for this, as you can see, I've soldered a wire to the copper pad here, and then just like on the other pack repair that we did, I ran this wire to the end of the collector plate, riveted it down, and that is good to go. Now you might ask, why didn't I just solder the wire bonds back to it? And the reason for that is that these wire bonds are actually aluminum wire, and aluminum does not tend to solder super well, which kind of poses some problems when trying to do these types of connections. You could probably solder it in and get a decent connection, but it's just never going to be super solid because the aluminum just does not bond to the solder very well. So soldering a copper wire to the copper pad is a much more solid connection. These wire bonds here, I'll probably put just a little dab of solder on those to try and keep them in place, and maybe they'll make a decent enough connection, but this is going to be sort of our mainstay for our voltage detection circuit here. And the way that these are done is they were built with redundancy. So you can see here, well, this actually has 4 little spots on here where there were wire bonds. And that's because this actually underwent a manufacturing screw up. So you can see here, there's also 2 little tick marks where there were wire bonds attached. And that's because somewhere in the manufacturing process they screwed up. Either they didn't have good connections or whatever. They removed those wire bonds and then they redid it a second time. So that's why we have these extra little tick mark connections for the wire bonds. But anyway, normally there would be 4 wire bonds for each brick. So this whole collector plate is all part of this one brick. And we have these 2 copper pads here on this PCB ribbon, and then we would have 2 wire bonds per copper pad, so there's some redundancy built in. But if all 4 of these wire bonds fail, you end up with an open voltage sense harness alert, and the BMS can no longer measure the voltage on this brick or the brick adjacent to it, because they share this wire bond between those 2 bricks. This would act as the positive for one brick and the negative for the other. So ultimately what I'll end up doing on this whole pack is every single one of these modules is going to come out. I'll inspect the wire bonds for each and every brick. So we've got our 4 wire bonds here, and then each additional brick also has more wire bonds. So if we zoom in up here, you can see we've got more wire bonds up there for those bricks, and then there's more on the obverse side of the module as well. So ultimately, every single module will get pulled out, they'll all get inspected, and ultimately what's going to happen is brick 3, which is these wire bonds here, these are the ones that are the most prone to these types of failures. And what I'll end up doing is every single module on brick 3, I'm actually going to reinforce the wire bond connections on it with some silver conductive epoxy, which the conductive epoxy doesn't really have high enough conductivity to perform the full function of making a solid enough connection to do the voltage measurements. But what it will do is it'll stabilize those wire bonds and prevent them from breaking off of the little pad there that they're bonded to. Now, if we compare this setup to the older style module, if you would have watched the pack repair video that I did on the P85D previously, you would know that they have a wire that runs from the BMB board and then is connected to the collector plate here via an ultrasonic bond on the wire. So on the last one, we basically crimped a wire, extended it to the edge of the collector plate, and then riveted it down just like we did over here. So more or less a very similar repair method, just a little bit different methodology where we actually make the connection to the voltage sense harness. So yeah, that pretty much does it for this. Just kind of wanted to show you guys sort of the differences between these 2 modules, the difference in the failure mode, and yeah, just kind of go over all that stuff. This is really the only Achilles heel on the 100 kilowatt hour packs. Now, of course, they still can suffer from moisture intrusion, and if you get a significant amount of heavy moisture intrusion, you can end up with corrosion issues. This actually has a few cells, you may have spotted them on video, that have a little bit of corrosion on them. There's not a whole lot that we can do about that. I'll try and clean up the corrosion as best as I can. Maybe try and apply some anti-oxidizing compound to them to prevent further oxidation. But if you get really heavy corrosion or oxidation in here, that can cause some big problems. But these packs are generally better sealed against moisture intrusion than the older packs are. They also don't have the same issues with the battery management boards up here on the end as the early packs do. So generally a more robust pack, but this is kind of the Achilles heel for them, particularly on the older versions of the 100 kilowatt hour packs. So this is why on a 100 kilowatt hour pack swap, I generally prefer to try and find a 2020 or newer pack, just because they're a more solid option, and they just have some additional benefits for reliability and charging speed and all that stuff. Anyway, that's going to be about it for this, and yeah. So just wanted to show you guys what I do to reinforce the rest of the wire bonds for all the modules that don't have a problem. So I've got this 2-part silver conductive epoxy. This is, if I can get it to focus, MG Chemicals 8331D. So we've got part A and B that mix together. This stuff is pricey. This 2-part system with these 2 syringes is over $100, but a little goes a long way with this stuff. But basically I mix up the epoxy, and then I apply just a little bit to all of the susceptible wire bonds in order to ensure that they don't have any issues. It's kind of hard to get the stuff to go on cleanly because it's a little bit thick and goopy, so it doesn't look super pretty, but it dries real solid and it'll keep the wire bonds from separating in the future. It doesn't have quite high enough conductivity to perform a repair, but it does prevent failures from ones that haven't failed yet. So it's kind of a key thing on these to ensure the longevity and make sure that none of the rest of the modules have problems later down the road. All right, so there you have it, folks. Pretty short video. Like I said, we're not going too in-depth into the actual repair process on this because there's basically already a whole video about what the majority of this process looks like. So just kind of wanted to give you a brief overview of how I repair these wire bond issues on the 100 kilowatt hour packs, and then of course retrofitting all of the rest of the modules with that little bit of epoxy just to prevent future failures as well. So anyway, yeah, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. I always try and answer questions down there if possible. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching.